Yellow, everybody. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for joining me on my journey to watch everything. This is going to be a monthly ordeal, at least it will be from here on out. I apologize, you're going to be getting January, February, March in April, and then April at the end of April. But life's been busy, but that's why I do this, because then I could recall, oh, that's what I was doing at this time. That's what I was watching during this time. It took 3 years. It took 3 years to finally find a system that works with chronicling my my TV. The very first year, I actually didn't really chronicle it at all. I had to go back at the very end of the year and recall everything that I watched, and I did recall everything that I watched. I calculated the hours, the time that is spent to watch it, the episodes, the seasons. I calculated and I made a graph. I guess I'll put it up. It's these two. I will review this eventually. But that was my 2021 TV timeline. Last year I kept a Google Notes, a Google Keeps note of all of them, but it didn't really work out in the end because I had to go back and actually make sure the dates were correct and everything. And so this year I decided I would use a spreadsheet. So that's what we're gonna review today for the remainder of the year and for the remainder of my life. I have worked hard to keep up with this so that y'all can just also keep up with it. So let me go ahead and explain the tabs here. So in the first tab, we have the master timeline. This is going to just be my master list of everything that every TV show that I have seen. In the movies tab is a list of all the movies I've seen in the month and year. This is where we get into the specifics. Caught up, kept up, and finished are those that I've either started in the previous year that carried over into this year, or shows that are coming out weekly or have a release schedule. These are shows that have a release schedule. In the Disney Plus tab, I have all of the Disney Plus shows that I will have seen in this year. I kept those separate for my 2021 and my 2022, and I'm going to keep them separate for this one as well, because those are kind of special in a way. I don't really know why, but they are. In the honorable mentions, we're gonna put shows that I just either have already seen and have gone back to, or episodes of shows that like Welcome to Chippendales, where it was just one episode in the year that I'm not really gonna put on my master timeline or anything. It's just gonna be an honorable mention because it was just one episode. Good attempts, no dice are shows that I'd given a try and just have not really worked out, and I decided I'm done. I'm not giving them a second try. I just cannot do it anymore. And now we have the era tabs. Eras are, well, just that, eras in my life that they'll have chapters, and chapters are not necessarily monthly, but they are just things that kind of happen. So far in the month of April, these chapters have been kind of monthly, but April's kind of bleeding in with the last chapter, so I don't know, we'll see what happens from here on out. But right now, we're only going to discuss January things, so let's go ahead and do that. Usually at the start of the year, the first chapters I usually call the Winter Games, and I give them the last 2 digits of the year. So this year, it's the Winter Games 23, and I gave it a subtitle, The Flying Peacock, because I got Peacock for 1 month on New Year's Eve so I can watch the Dolly Parton and Miley Cyrus show, and then I decided I'm just going to watch strictly Peacock things so I could get my money's worth. And boy, did I get my money's worth. There's so many shows on there that I still need to watch, and now that I've had Peacock for a while, that's all I can think about. There's just so many things on there that I want to watch, that I want to consume, but I can't yet because I don't have the bandwidth to even just review them, because there's so many things that I would want to review. But anyway, and I'm figuring out that so many of my friends actually have Peacock, and I'm like, you have Peacock? So maybe later throughout this year, it will have been time to have Peacock once again. So let's start out actually with the master timeline. I want to just review everything in one go, and then I'll maybe break them up as we go. But the year started out with That 70s Show on the 1st. It was a struggle. It was either this one or 2.5 Men, or I think there was a third one. But seeing as so many of my friends say you have to watch That 70s Show, and I love Topher Grace and it's just about anything he's in, I decided it was about time for me to meet Eric, Donna, and the rest of the crew. And oh my gosh, this show was so funny. It was so funny. It's a very weird start at first, but just power through that first episode. That first few episodes, actually. The first season can start out a little bit rough, but again, this is the 70s era. So things happen and you're like, whoa, but it's the 70s. And I swear if I had seen this just even a few years ago, I probably wouldn't know what they're talking about. The cleverness of filming, especially when they're in the circle, all of it is just so freaking funny. This show came in at 8 seasons with 200 episodes and 21 minutes, around 21 minutes average watch time, with a grand grand total of 4,200 minutes of watch time. I'm not going to be doing this whole minutes watch whatever thing per episode. You guys can clearly see the numbers here, and for those that, you know, when you can't, I mean, there you go. Or there you go, I suppose, because my face be covering some. But I will be going through these numbers at every month at the end, and we'll see. We'll do a total per month. But That 70s Show clocks in at an 8.5 only because that 8th season, man. That 8th season. That 70s Show had a perfect send-off for season 7, and though I did not really appreciate the recreation of Ross and Rachel, will they, won't they, with Eric and Donna. And though I would say that Donna was just a little bit, and Eric was very much. So I cannot understand how or why or what to their relationship, but honestly, I don't know. My main man Eric started going downhill in season 7, and they had a send-off for him, and then they continued with season 8, and season 8 was just abysmal. It was abysmal. I wanted to stop watching it, but I couldn't because I knew I needed to have a full intake so I can have my full reaction and opinion. So there you go. To me, That 70s Show only has 7 seasons because the last season is just so stupid and I hate it so much. But I love the rest of the show and it's great, so 8.5 it is. Next up was Rutherford Falls. Rutherford Falls stars Ed Helm as the last Rutherford to live in Rutherford Falls. He owns a museum of Rutherford Falls of his family who started Rutherford Falls, but is then later uncovered to have just very problematic history. It's so good. It's so great. It was very nice to see Native Americans or indigenous people. I'm trying to be as respectful as I possibly can, so please tell me what the correct term is. Google said pretty much any of them are fine, but I just want to make sure I'm not offending anyone. But it was really nice to see them get their own focus into their own show, and it was really good. Sadly, however, there was only 2 seasons before it was canceled, and honestly, I can kind of see why it was canceled. Let me read to you what I wrote here. This show honestly had a lot of potential, but ultimately, it wasn't really charming enough to hold itself above the water. I loved everything it had going for it, but I think the fact that it just kind of felt like a formulaic streaming show, which caused it to fizzle out. There's not really that many stakes, but the characters are simply wonderful, and I loved them. I got to know each character, and they were pretty much people I would be friends with. I personally would love to see more, but it didn't really offer enough for the general consensus to want to stick around. Rather, you kind of just wanted to skip to the end to see the happy ending that you knew was already coming. All in all, I give Rutherford Falls a 7.5, although personally, I liked it a little bit more to give it enough for an 8, but this is a general consensus for the general audience review. All right, we're gonna skip through these pretty quickly here, because now we're getting into the caught up, kept up, and finished bits here. First show we have on the list is Home Economics Season 3, Episode 11 through 13. I was completely unaware that Home Economics was just getting a half season. That doesn't really bode well for the show. I love this show. I thought Season 1 and 2 was just so freaking funny. Season 3 was, it was a little rough with Sarah not being around as much, but I truly love this show, and I really do hope it comes back for a 4th season. The fact that it's only got 13 episodes, I was waiting anxiously for 2 months for more of these, and I thought, they're just on a hiatus. No, they finished. I had to Google it, and I was just perplexed. So I rewatched the last episode and remembered why I didn't really remember it. It wasn't really the greatest finale, but it was a pretty good one. But anyway, the last episode did air on January 18. I left that one blank because I don't really know what to do in this situation yet, so we'll see. Because it's the 3rd season, but I only watched like 3 episodes for this here, so that's why I don't know if I should keep this here or move this over to the honorable mentions bit. I don't know. We'll see. But it really was only 3 episodes. But as a whole, season 3 of Home Economics, I give an 8 out of 10. Next is The Rookie Feds, Season 1, Episodes 10 onward. The show is almost done concluding their 1st season. They're not quite there yet, but they're almost there. And I love this show so much. It stars Niecy Nash as Simone Clark, a new rookie to the Fed agency. And she's just insanely smart and talented and empathetic, and I want to be her friend so badly. Honestly, if you like justice and crime shows, this is a very refreshing take. I've not seen The Rookie, but because of this, and because they cross over with The Rookie, I really want to start watching The Rookie. I don't really have the bandwidth to do that right now, but I really want to start it soon. I'm not going to be rating these because they're not done yet, so next on the list is Will Trent. Oh my gosh, another one. I almost didn't give this one a chance, but if it weren't for the fact that I was absolutely bored, and I just really wanted just to start new things that was out of my comfort zone, like dramas and crime shows, and I am hooked. I want to start more. Will Trent is about GBI agent Will Trent, who is certified legally illiterate, so he has his other senses, of course, heightened, so he's very observant when he works. He's insanely smart, and he's insanely relatable. The show itself, with the cast and the characters, my goodness, this is another refreshing take on crime. Well, not on crime, but crime shows. Detective shows. If you're not watching Will Trent on Hulu, what are you even doing? Then we have The Bad Batch, started on January 6th. My friend and I are currently watching through The Bad Batch, and I know at this point in time when recording this, The Bad Batch is over, but we're only on episode 9, I think, because we started it together and we're gonna watch it together. We're gonna finish it together, and hopefully that together is soon. But so far, I'm really enjoying the ride. Then we have Abbott Elementary! I have my reactions to this at least up until the episodes that I've seen so far. I'm planning to react to the rest of this season, but so far, Abbott Elementary Season 2 has been a really charming, fun ride. I think maybe Season 1 was probably more funny, but I digress. I love this show. I think it's great. I think it's charming. Will I react to Season 3? We will see. I'm not quite sure yet, but it was renewed for a Season 3, so good job, Quinta Brunson. You're doing a fantastic job. Please make up more. I'm enjoying it. Then we have Young Rock, which I'm only putting Young Rock here because I did watch quite a bit of episodes, and it is still a thing, but you know, it is in my good attempts, no dice. I started this on the 9th, and I tried to push through, and I just really could not do it, and I just ended it on the 10th. There are 3 seasons, and I watched episodes from Season 1, some of Season 2, some of Season 3, and just finally I was like, I'm just done. Let me read you what I wrote. Season 1 and 2 have 12 episodes each, but I only managed to watch the first season and 3 episodes from Season 2 before I stopped. I actually started this show by watching 4 episodes of Season 3, just being confused, thinking that this was just a glorified campaign for Dwayne Johnson's presidency. But the fact that I held on really well speaks on how firmly this show truly is structured. It's just not my thing because I don't necessarily care about The Rock. And just, he's not a very good narrator. He's just way too docile and way too slow, and Randall Park was somehow incredibly not funny, which is a very hard thing for Randall Park to do. But Young Rock was not my cup of tea, and I just could not do it. And I love family shows, I love period pieces, I love The Wonder Years, the new one of my favorite shows. But this was rough. This was very, very rough. I give Young Rock a 5? Apparently I gave Young Rock a 5. I would give it something a little bit less, but like honestly, thinking about it, sure, it does deserve a 5. It's just not my show. It's not that it's a bad show. It's just not my show. Then we have Pitch Perfect Bumper in Berlin. I started this on the 10th because I just needed something that was good, and I finished it the next day on the 11th. I already made a review on this, so you could go ahead and check that out. But just to save you some time on that, my rating is 7 out of 10, a 70%. But you can go ahead and check out what I have to say about that show because they're good things. I'm excited for Season 2, and I definitely will be getting Peacock if I don't have it then for this show. Then we have Welcome to Flatch, Season 2, episodes 10 through 13. This is another one that I was like waiting for months for more and more seasons, and then I finally realized on the same day that I realized that Home Economics had ended, that Welcome to Flatch probably has ended as well. I mean, just seeing how the first season only had 10 or 12 episodes, I thought maybe Welcome to Flatch is gonna have a full order. Nah, they didn't. Which is such a shame because they added Barb Flatch to the show, and she is gloriously hilarious. She carried. Welcome to Flatch Season 1 was already funny as it is, but Barb added a whole new element to the show and made it that much funnier. I really want to give Season 2 a 9 out of 10, but I know that for some people, that's even though I like pretty much almost everything, well, not really, as you can see. Commercially, marketing-wise, I think Season 2 could have been a little bit more. I don't know why I gave it an 8.5. I don't really know why I gave it an 8.5. Maybe it was just in a bad mood, but it really does deserve a 9. As I think about it as a whole, I laugh every single time, man. I laugh every single time. Why isn't there no end date? Oh, because Welcome to Flatch actually ended in February. Well, maybe discuss it in that one. Oops, prematurely reviewed it. I'm sorry. Then on the 13th, we also started back up with the Goldbergs, Season 10, episode 11. I reacted to the very first episode, so you can go ahead and find that on my channel as well. But so far, the Goldbergs, the season has been alright. I don't really want to be harsh on it, but you know, honestly, the Goldbergs were at their prime in their middle seasons. Season 4, 5, 6, I think were probably some of the best seasons. Even 7 was pretty good, but 8, 9 is when they started to crumble a little bit. I wonder if the magic of the Goldbergs is wearing out because there's only so much you can do, and honestly, people's complaints are it's the same thing every single season. And honestly, I can see that, but I started it in a time where I really needed it and I got hooked on it. So I'll give it a pass each and every single time. I mean, the latest episode that they released, I believe episode 19, brought Erica back to form and she was on fire and I was having such a great time. But season 10 really seems like a wholly new show, and I don't know if they're going to survive to season 11. If they do, season 11 truly will be their final season. Then we have Velma. Oh man. This one ended in February, so I'm just gonna wait to talk about it then. Next we have The Last of Us. I actually only saw the first episode and I have to finish the rest. I want to reserve The Last of Us for Patreon content only reactions, so that's why I haven't really been watching it, because I knew The Last of Us would be really good for reactions, but I just don't have time or money to edit it, so I thought it would just go on my Patreon. I just haven't really started my Patreon or this yet. Well, lies on Patreon. It started, but y'all don't know about that yet. Next, we have AP Bio, starring Glenn Howerton. I started that on the 18th and finished it on the 23rd. I've listened to the It's Always Sunny podcast, and he always mentions AP Bio and how his show did really well and then was canceled, but it did really well, so I decided to check it out. And oh my gosh, what a super cute show. It's so charming. Let me read to you. The first season struggles to find a footing for a little bit, but quickly finds itself each more with each passing season. Glenn Howerton is an actor for sure. His Dennis Reynolds barely bleeds through in the first 2 seasons. Towards the end of the 3rd and 4th seasons, it kind of seemed like he was just a basic smart Dennis, but then quickly reverts back to being just a wholly new character. I enjoyed the journey, but it didn't seem like his Jack didn't really grow as much as he probably should have. And I don't really like the fact that it took place in the span of a couple of months and not 4 years, because the kids clearly grew up and things clearly happened over time, but they kind of just kept wanting you to believe that no more than just a year had passed. Season 4 was clearly the best and funniest season, starting to resemble Community just a little tiny bit, with sudden genres being played around with and spoofed for narrative's sake. Honestly, I think it really would have helped the show if Jack visibly grew a little bit more, hence, you know, years and seasons and whatever timelines. And it really would have been better if each season had opened with a philosophy quote, seeing as Jack was a philosophy teacher teaching biology and the whole thing was about philosophy. Although, you don't really get that much philosophy in this whatsoever at all. It's just a show that just happens to be cute and funny. That would have made the whole presentation of the show just a little bit better. This show lands at an 8.5. And we have, Supernatural Academy. Yo, y'all, Supernatural Academy, I started that on the 23rd and finished it on the 24th, and I saw the thumbnails and I thought, I want to watch this cartoon. This looks like it's gonna be good. And all throughout, I mean, as you can see, the only thing I wrote down there was, wow. I have notes galore about this show. I don't know, where do you even begin with this? I remember watching this show thinking, this seems like a YA novel. And lo and behold, it is. It's originally a YA novel that somebody at Peacock took and said, this would be good as a show. And it really wasn't. Who is it even for? At some points you're like, oh, this is for kids, because they're saying, oh my gosh, and what the heck? And then they're saying cuss words later out in the episode. It's just like, who? Pick your target market. Animation on this is also just atrocious. Honestly, this kind of looks like the same animation style as Merge Mansion. So every time I see anything supernatural, I'm like, Merge Mansion crossover? The theme song is quite catchy, although it can get annoying really quickly because, you know, it's been a few months and I can't get it out of my head. But this show has no basis, has no structure for writing whatsoever. The pacing and the story is such garbage. And it's so incredibly cheesy. It's, oh my gosh, it's so bad. I hear that the books are way better than the show, and the people who like the books actually really hate the show because the show has almost nothing to do with the books whatsoever. So that gives me a little bit of hope that a good story exists, because this show, if a little tender love and care was put into it, it would be a really good and compelling story. So I put it at a 4.5 out of 10. And that's also being generous. Next on the list, we have Hulu's Accused. I made a short on this on YouTube, and I still stand by it. It's a pretty good, really good show. The only thing about the show is that the material is so insanely heavy. It is not for the faint of heart. It's not even for like people who like me, who can, I can withstand just some. Honestly, after the first episode, I was like, I don't know if I can stomach this. That was like, the first episode was solid. It was really good with Michael Chiklis. But then that second episode brought me to tears. And then the third episode and fourth episode happened, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to continue this show, which is why it is also in my good attempts but no dice. I'm debating whether or not I want to continue watching it, but it's been such a while that I don't know if I want to commit to like 4 or 5 hours straight, or not even, of Accused. I don't know. We will see. But if your thing is courtroom style anthology series, very heavy material, very real life situation things happening, then this is the show for you. I don't know what I'm gonna rate it yet, because I want to wait until to see. I don't know what I'm gonna rate it yet, because I kind of want to wait till the end of the year to see if I actually go through with and watching it, because there's some moments in my life where I'm like, maybe I could go for an Accused episode, but I never do. On January 25th, I started American Auto, because how could you not? I love Justin Spritzer. I love Superstore. His first episode of American Auto, the finale, blew my mind. So when they announced a season 2, I was like, oh, heck yeah! But I'm pretty sad and disappointed that it's only on Peacock and not on Hulu, because I have Hulu and I love Hulu. But I started it and I said I will go back to it once it finishes in March. And it's April and I haven't gone back to it yet, because like I said, there's no bandwidth. But the first 2 episodes of this show are great. They're so amazingly funny. Please go watch American Auto. Then it's How I Met Your Father Season 2. I have the first 3 reactions on my channel, and I really did try to do more reactions, but they didn't really garner much views. So not many people really care about How I Met Your Father, at least reactions wise. I love How I Met Your Mother. So this show, How I Met Your Father, season 1, had some struggle finding its footing. Then once it found its footing in season 2, it's just phenomenal, just worlds better, just so much better. I don't know what happened, but they probably heard my complaints on my blog, and they probably put it to heart and just did a lot better. Everyone in this show is so freaking funny. They're on top of their game. They have 11 episodes out so far, and they're on a mini hiatus, and they will be back in like a couple months. Next is The Magicians. The Magicians I started on the 28th, and as you'll see later on, this is a show that I held on to for quite a while. I'll have more to say about it when we get to the end, but it was amazing. The pilot episode, 10 out of 10. My gosh, this show, so good. Finally, we ended this month similarly to how we started it. We ended it with That 90s Show. That's right. I saw all of the episodes of That 90s Show in one go, and I actually enjoyed it. It's literally the perfect formula to a sequel show. They gave the perfect amount of homages, but they still remained their own thing, especially by the end of the show. This whole season 1 is basically a whole pilot for That 90s Show. By the time you get to the end, you're just like, wait, no, you decide to end it now? They are coming out with a season 2, so I am so insanely excited for that, but this show does get an 8.5. An 8.5! Why? Because it is so good. I did enjoy my time with Leia and the crew. Getting to see Kitty again, I say again, I had just finished watching That 70s Show that day, and then immediately That 90s Show was like, hi, we just dropped. And so I said, why the heck not? I didn't start That 70s Show because of That 90s Show, by the way. That was just a massive coincidence. All right, let's look at the movies real quick, and then we can just end this video. In the month of January, I watched a total of 6 movies. The first one being Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. It was a rewatch, and then I ended up watching it again on the 25th. This movie is a perfect 10 out of 10 movie for me. It's not everyone's cup of tea, and I understand that, but at the time, I was going through so much, and I related with Shuri and just everything that was going on. I cried so much the first time, cried probably almost as much as the second time, and the third time just about half. Ryan Coogler, you're such a blessing to the MCU. Then I saw Glass Onion on the 3rd, and I give that one an 8.5 out of 10. There's not really much to say about Glass Onion if you haven't really heard of it already. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but Rian Johnson, I think I liked A Knives Out way better. I have a couple things with Glass Onion, and a lot of people are just like, oh, Rian Johnson is such good crime mystery writer, and I'm like, sure. I'm gonna have to see a third one just to really be sure, but he's not Agatha Christie, let me tell you that. But it's still a good movie. It's still a good movie. Then I saw Avatar 2, Way of the Water. I think I saw this one in IMAX 3D. I don't know if it was IMAX 3D or just real 3D, but I saw this one in 3D with my friend. I enjoyed this movie. It's an did I hit 9.8? It's a 9. This movie is a 9. It drags so much, and the plot really is paper thin, but I really did enjoy this one, and I hated the first one. The first one, so bad. And there's a couple shots even in this one where I'm just like, okay, James, we all understand what you're trying to say. We know, we get it. But you just gotta smile because it's a little cheesy, and you're like, it's fine, it's James Cameron. But I did really enjoy it. I'm never gonna watch it again because it was way too long, which is why I would give it a 8, but that's just called pettiness, so it does get a 9. And then finally, the last few days in January, I decided I would just watch pretty much just movies because I needed to just crank some movies out, and I didn't really want to start shows, and it was just a couple days left. So I decided to watch Ticket to Paradise, starring Julia Roberts and George Clooney. That one was just a sweet, charming movie. It's just a classic rom-com that you would have seen in the early 2010s maybe, which is not a bad thing. It's just a very classic rom-com and clean, and it's really funny at times. It's docile, and I see a lot of people giving it like 7.5s, but to me, I equate that to like a C, and it's really not a C, it's a B. It's a B movie. It's the B movie. No, it's not. It's an 8 out of 10. It really is. Then I saw Bros. And I feel so bad, and I don't know fully what to say about this one yet, but I decided I have to see this. I have to see this movie and see what I think, and honestly, I felt offended. Just sometimes, I don't know, but like, I feel like Billy Eichner has a lot of problems, personal problems that he needs to work through, because a lot of the things, though true, just felt massively aggressive, and I don't know. Though the movie was fine, the story structure kind of was a little wonky and pacing was a little alright. But honestly, the reviews online are true. It's just an okay movie. The writing is pretty not that great. It does get a 6.5 out of 10 for me though. That's as best as I could do. And finally, Meet Cute! Meet Cute was incredibly cute, and though there was a lot of exposition, and a lot of actuallys, and it kind of just got repetitive because it's just a very low budget movie. Kaylee Cuoco and Pete Davidson make this work, and they make it work. And it was only after that I realized that a certain character does something continually every time something activates, we'll say, and I felt like this character was fulfilling in a way what they set out to accomplish to begin with, and I thought that was incredibly smart and incredibly dark at the same time. I had not seen a single trailer to this, so I simply just saw their faces and I thought, I love them both, and I played it and I was pleasantly surprised. I know the trailer reveals the plot-ish, so that you know what's going on, but I didn't know the plot because I didn't see it, so I want you guys to just, if you haven't seen the trailer, just start it and watch it. You will be surprised. I loved being surprised, but I do give it a 7 out of 10 because that story is just a little wonky, but it's such a very cute movie, and by the end, the ending did make me tear up a little bit, and it did make me smile. So this is another good date night type of movie, or a movie that you could just watch by yourself, but it is a very good movie. Very good that I'm gonna actually change it to a 7.5. Well, that was it. What do you guys think of my January monthly review? This is gonna be so long to edit, but that's gonna be okay. I am excited. Let me know what you guys thought down below. Have you guys seen any of these shows? And if you are watching some of the continual ones, or you've seen some of these, let me know what your thoughts are on them down below as well. Tell me your rating. I am a freelance photographer, graphic designer, and writing consultant, so if you have any needs in those areas, let me know. You can check out my website and shoot me a message. My social media links are in the description below, and I will see you next time. You've just been Montified.